Welcome into a Tuesday edition of the Jordy Culotta Show, presented daily by Go Chevrolet. Shout out to the crew over at Go Chevrolet, getting back on their feet down there in Laplace, Louisiana. All the good people down in that part of the state who have been rocked by Hurricane Ida. Thoughts with you. We'll have Chef Jean-Paul Bourgeois on tomorrow as he was talking about the GoFundMe that was helping the people of Houma, Thibodaux, and South Louisiana. We will revisit that and tell you how you can get involved. This morning we'll talk to Frank Wilson, McNeese head football coach, at 7:30 this morning. Get the experience of the Pokes coming down to Baton Rouge last weekend. McNeese played well, held up for a couple of quarters versus LSU. We'll ask him about the health of his squad as they were banged up, pushed around down here in Baton Rouge, and see how they're faring here as they get ready for another opponent here this week. We'll talk to Stingley Sr. at 8 a.m. this morning. We were a little short abbreviated on Monday and cut out of here after an hour. And Coach Stingley will be in today as he's regularly in every Monday with us here on the Jordy Culotta Show. And we also will talk to Rohan Davey at 8:30 this morning. Rohan will be in as he is every week. And Rohan's segment is now brought to you by Fletcher Painting. Shout out to Brian Fletcher and the crew over there at Fletcher Painting. Got over 40 years of experience in painting in South Louisiana, second-generation company. Welcome aboard here to the Jordy Culotta Show. Looking forward to working with Brian Fletcher and the crew over at Fletcher Painting. So each time we talk to Rohan during the week, that'll be brought to you by Fletcher Painting. Make sure you check out their Facebook to check out some of the cool stuff that they've done, like the state capitol and some of the plantations in the state of Louisiana. Really cool projects and that they've had that they've been working on with Brian Fletcher over at Fletcher Painting. So good day lined up here on the Jordy Culotta Show. Get involved with us. We are on YouTube. We are on Facebook. We are on JordyCulottaShow.com. It is easy to find us. Katie will be here after carpool. Both Noah and Jack in class this morning. Lloyd is here. A Monday night football classic last night.
Wild game.
Crazy game. Rarely do you see Monday night get the better of the draws of the primetime games, and Chicago and L.A. was kind of a dud on Sunday night. Monday night made up for it in Las Vegas as Baltimore and the Raiders went into overtime. That was two games that we nearly saw 5 quarters of football from. Up in Cincinnati on Sunday with Burrow and the boys, they played 5 quarters of overtime. They played a 5th quarter of overtime, and then last night on Monday Night Football with the Mannings debut.
Electric.
I don't know if I'll watch anything other. I can't watch the regular broadcast anymore. I thought it was the best part about it was the insight, right? I mean, just the knowledge.
Oh, dude, they throw the helmet on Peyton Manning, and then they have him on the whiteboard as John Gruden, but they have him going through the same calls as the quarterback's going through as it's happening, and he's explaining what each audible means while it's going on, and it's just some of the insight that you don't get from anywhere else. I don't know what ESPN is going to do with them. They're not going to be on ESPN2 for very long. And I don't know how much they want to do it, though.
I would move them to a digital platform if they're trying to build any numbers on that.
I'm probably going to put it behind the Plus paywall.
Probably so. I mean, it's great programming.
It was really good.
They're humorous. They're good. They've got good contacts. I thought that Travis Kelce was great. Ray Lewis was great. Even Russell Wilson towards the end of the game.
Russ got stuck with the graveyard shift.
He did, man.
You'll want to hang out forever time.
Well, he's on that West Coast clock.
Yeah.
He's on that West Coast clock.
He wouldn't expect an OT.
Which is a different life out there. Those 2 hours, man, that you're padded out on the West Coast time.
Yeah, you're still on it.
I am.
But his wife is at the Met Gala, so I guess Rusty had the house to himself. We also might watch some football with the boys. A little bit different than what Paul Pierce does when he's at home alone.
Yes, that is true. We will talk about the Monday night game. We'll talk about LSU getting ready for Central Michigan. We'll talk about the New Orleans Saints as they sent an Instagram post to the Jacksonville Jaguars yesterday, talking about how thankful they were for opening up their doors and said that they were heading back. So we'll see what the Saints do as they are preparing this week for a trip to Carolina. They'll be on the road this week versus the Carolina Panthers, who got a Week 1 win versus New York. But wanted to start this morning, obviously, with a very sad message. A very tough message, a very tough day for the LSU football family, as Kevin Falk, who is now the LSU's running backs coach and the all-time leading rusher in program history, lost his 19-year-old daughter yesterday morning. They're very little details to the cause of it, but it is and was reported yesterday by the program with a touching statement talking about the loss of Kevion Falk, Kevin's 19-year-old daughter. So a very sad day for the LSU community, for the LSU football program, and one of the most recognizable names and figures as far as athletes go in our sport, or in our state, in the history of our state, Kevin Falk. So it was very sad news as it started to come out yesterday morning, and I cannot imagine being in the Falk's shoes this morning in having to and losing a child. It is my greatest fear in life, and for Kevin Falk and his family dealing with that this morning and over the last 24 hours. I can't pray enough for him and the people around Kevion, who lost such a young, bright, and enthusiastic soul who was around the LSU football department. She worked in the recruiting department and was really a part of the LSU football family. So I know that this is a very tough time for a lot of people up there, and specifically Kevin Falk and his family. So we want to make sure and just say that we are very sorry, and that we are thinking and praying for everybody that is in and around this situation. There's no way to get out of that with any type of transition that makes any sense. So we'll just try to move the show along and get to some of the things that are on the docket today. But it will be very much with that in the background, and that's something that will hover over this LSU football program for the rest of this season, and for the Falks. I don't want to get into the personal stuff because I can't even imagine what he and his family and everybody around his family are going through. But it is just a very sad time for LSU football as far as the news that came out yesterday in and around Kevin Falk and his family. And Kevion Falk is his 19-year-old daughter who passed away yesterday morning. So it is a very sad way to start the Monday. Obviously, yesterday for Kevin, and it's a somber day here after receiving the news on starting the show here on this Tuesday morning. So obviously, anything in and around LSU football this week seems like it will be, it'll be coated in sadness because of just the loss of a family member, and you wonder how that will affect the preparation of this week's game. And I don't want to put any emphasis on where their head's going to be at or anything like that, but this will be a week where the backdrop is filled with very much sorrow and sadness for LSU, and how that translates to the field. We'll have to wait and see on Saturday night. One thing that we do know on Saturday is that one of Kevin Falk's, one of his position group members in John Emery is not going to be there this week. Will he not be there for the rest of the season? It seemed like that was the announcement from LSU and Coach Ed Ogeron in his weekly press conference that he holds every Monday as he kind of wraps up the weekend and looks ahead to the week of coming up. And he said that if I'm reading this right, and this is coming from Coach, this is coming from Ed Ogeron yesterday, as he said, John Emery is out for the year, and I'm saying he's unavailable right now. Right now, he's unavailable. Things could change. Ogeron said that on his weekly Zoom call yesterday. If they do change, we'll play him. Could they change? Yeah. But that's out of my control right now. So from that, again, look, man, we've pointed out the just gamble you take with Ed Ogeron handling your public relations and issuing your public statements. And we've seen it time and time again, just the blunders. And he's almost incapable of handling anything as seemingly as minor of an announcement, just as simple of an announcement. Don't misunderstand me. That is not a minor announcement. I'm just saying the way that you've got that typed up, you would imagine if you're going to make a public statement with the head coach that it's going to be very clear and concise. Like it's going to be, here is the parameters, here's how we're going to operate. But the statement yesterday from Orgeron is that John Emery is out for the year, and I'm saying he's unavailable. Right now, he's unavailable. Things could change. So let's just kind of break this down here. I mean, almost word by word.
I'm more confused than I was.
Yeah, right. So, I mean, I've got a follow-up. Can you explain if John Emery, what his status is, please?
Quick one here. What does that mean?
Yes, right. So it seems as if John Emery, for a moment there, was out for the season, and then he was right back into the status where he has been for the first 2 weeks of the year, which has kind of been a state of uncertainty. And we knew he was out for the UCLA game, as they announced that just about an hour before kickoff, and then before the McNeese game, Orgeron stated that he was kind of waiting on word from the LSU compliance and the university on what the status was going to be for Emery. There has been a ton of smoke, and it seems like rumor here in and around why he is ineligible. And it seems like a storyline broke on Saturday during the post-game show, where our good friend Charles Hannegriff, I believe, said during the post-game show that John Emery was ineligible because he was inserted into the wrong class this summer that did not go towards his major and his eligibility. So the class, therefore, almost didn't count, and he was going to be suspended because of that. Now, that has bubbled over to people asking the question routinely. I mean, I ran into more people yesterday that asked me, how in the hell can the Emery situation happen? How can he be enrolled in the wrong class? And after doing a little bit of digging and talking to some people up there, and then I'm sure everybody saw Jacob Hester's tweet yesterday, where Hester tweeted out at around 2 o'clock saying the John Emery was signed up for the wrong class narrative is completely false. The academic issue Emery is going through isn't because of a wrong class that was taken this summer. Hashtag LSU. There was speculation out there of cheating. There was speculation out there of missed class and attendance. There's speculation out there of him being enrolled in the wrong class.
The wrong class seems impossible.
I agree.
I mean, what are we doing
when
here?
I heard that the first time, there's no way that I am going to believe that the starting running back for LSU in his junior season is going to be deemed ineligible because he was enrolled in the wrong class. There's too many people that are watching over that. There's too many people that are paid to watch over that. That's almost impossible to happen at a Division I college level.
Especially for a player like John Emery, where you're trying everything you can to make sure he's like a 5-star running back. You would assume that they're on the right track and they know what classes they're in. It's like you walked into, patrol. It's like you walked into chemical engineering and I probably shouldn't be here.
Right.
It was like, I mean, they know by your junior year you were on track to
Absolutely.
take these 3 classes.
Absolutely.
It just seems.
I know what I got left.
Yeah, he knows.
Yes.
Even he knows. That's not on my schedule. There's no way. So this is big smoke screen.
So then the story and the plot thickens a little bit as Mike Scarborough tweets out yesterday that he was told that John Emery's academic issue is not over yet and that the family is pursuing all legal options in order to get him eligible in the 2021 season. This has a little bit of Christian Fulton's feel to it from a couple of seasons ago, where the
Wizinator,
the policy of Christian Fulton, he had an argument, and he had gone back and forth with the appeals committee and with compliance and the NCAA and the SEC, and it was a case that went back and forth and was volleyed throughout really the majority of Fulton's career, until he was deemed eligible in 2018, 2019, then went on to become a second-round pick of the Tennessee Titans, and now is a starting cornerback for the Titans. But if you recall, it was a very dramatic episode with Fulton, where it was a lot of back and forth of hearings and just a lot of legal action back and forth, where it was one day there was a possibility that he was going to be eligible, only to be backtracked and set back to an ineligible status, where it was going to cause more of a fight. They hired their own representation, and at that point it really took a turn, and LSU and Fulton were able to kind of come to an agreement, and he got on the field in 2018. And if you recall, he was the starting cornerback opposite Greedy Williams in 2018, and was a starting cornerback opposite a true freshman in Derek Stingley in that 2019 championship run, and now is playing for the Tennessee Titans. This feels very much like that after the Scarborough tweet yesterday, where it seems to be that there is some breakdown within LSU and the player or whatever the ruling and status is of John Emery. So, to be continued.
And it has a lot of the Christian Fulton feel, where he's practicing with the team. He's still out there every day, because Christian Fulton, whenever he was suspended, he still practiced every day with the team. He was on scout. But it feels like they're doing the same thing with John Emery. They're not holding him out of anything LSU practice-wise, at least not that I've seen. So there's still obviously a light at the end of the tunnel, whether it's a train or the sunshine. I don't know. But they still have a little bit of hope with John Emery, even though Coach O just took me on a wild tangent in about 3 sentences, where it's the Mr. Coach Klein. He fakes.
Right.
No, he thinks about faking. This room's getting smaller. Like why are we talking about it? Like, if we don't have an actual concrete statement to put out, don't say he's out for the year. Well, he's unavailable. Like, that couldn't be what was written down. The twists and turns that thing took throughout.
At this point, if I am handling Ed Ogeron and I am trusting him to make a public statement, I am saying, here is the sheet of paper.
You have
with
to read this.
Every single word that you have to say in succession. These are statements that you have to read. Like, when it gets to period, take a pause and come up and then
breathe.
Say the second statement. Don't say anything off of this
script,
this memo. Nothing off of this press release. Do I want you to say anything? And yesterday, in his his statement, I'm just gonna just read his statement out loud. John Emery is out for the year. I'm saying he's unavailable. Right now, he's unavailable. Things could change. If they do, we'll play him. Could they change? Yeah, but that's out of my control. Bro, what? How? It's not. It couldn't be this hard. Like, why is this so difficult? It's just.
And when you think about it, this thing has probably been looming over LSU for a while, for the fact that they went to go get Trey Bradford back from Oklahoma and get him into the transfer portal, which is a wild move. You say there's no free agency in college football. I say, yes, there is, sir. They just went ahead and got Trey Bradford. But when you think about when those wheels started turning, they had to know that Emery was probably in a little bit of trouble to go get another back.
No, we're all fooling ourselves if we think that Emery was a 4:45 scratch of the 5:30 kickoff out in California for UCLA. I think that was very much known. And we have confirmed that from one of our own, Whitney Bro, who is inside of the bunker this morning, that the Emerys have retained Christian Fulton's legal representative for this fight. So, this is something that we have not heard the last of, and something that could go into into a courtroom that we could be following.
So is this Emery versus LSU? Who is it? Like, who is the legal representation going up against? Is it the school side of things? I couldn't imagine it'd be athletics unless it was. Then you go back to did they put them in the wrong class, and that would be LSU athletics. But I'd imagine, like, who is this? Like, what's the legal representation going up against?
Well, I imagine it's up against whoever's trying to keep him off the field, and it sounds like it's LSU.
So this is strictly LSU institution doing that?
I don't know enough about the situation to say where all parties fit in and who's all responsible for the decision making. But at this point, it doesn't seem like there's any NCAA infractions that's keeping him off the field. It seems like this is an institution decision that is keeping him from playing. So if he's hiring legal representation, I'd imagine that he is trying to combat something that they are telling him that he can't do.
I mean, when's the last time somebody was academically ineligible in college? Like, they got that thing cleaned up a long
Especially
time
from
ago.
summer school.
Summer school. Like, you're just taking the 3 hours.
I mean,
and yeah.
an LSU football player ineligible because of summer school. That's
the most LSU thing of all time.
That is hard to do. You know what I mean?
Impossible.
That is hard to do. Okay, this is an NCAA issue. So
That's what I would imagine.
Much like the Fulton situation.
Right.
I mean, the Fulton situation was NCAA.
Because I couldn't imagine. I mean, if you do this internally, LSU would have swept that thing out. You got to get that cleaned up amongst yourselves.
Yeah.
We could figure this thing out. But even if it's the NCAA, what are they going to do? Vacate wins if he plays? Like, those don't matter. A vacated win means nothing to me.
Yeah, for sure.
So just play him.
Give Reggie Bushbeck his Heisman, for God's sakes. Daily, we are brought to you by GoFlow IV and Spa. Remember, over on Jefferson Highway, GoFlow IV and Spa. They can help you out today. Make the appointment. You can do that online at goflowiv.com. They got great memberships. They got great packages that they offer over there. It's Baton Rouge's premier medical spa specializing in IV hydration treatments with vitamin infusion. Located right across the street from A-Bear Specialty Meats on Jefferson Highway. Stop in and see them over there on Jefferson. Pull up to them or look them up online, goflowiv.com. They can help you out if you are suffering from dehydration. If you're an athlete out there and you're looking for better performance, stop in to GoFlow. If you want to help with your skin, your hair, any type of beauty care, they can help you with that. Obviously, illness recovery, chronic illness recovery, or if you just have a hangover, like I did on Sunday morning.
Was that your first hangover in how long?
Over a year.
You're not a big drinker.
At all. Obviously.
Obviously.
I mean, obviously. Body's like, what the hell's going on?
What is it? What does it mean right now?
Frank Wilson and the McNeese Cowboys were down here this weekend. Good showing for Frank and his crew. I don't know how banged up they are here. It seemed like every play in the second half there was some type of injury timeout. This game was a little bit, it got as physical as it was, especially for Cody Ogeron. We will see the status and check the status of Cody when we get back here on the Jordy Culotta Show as Coach Wilson and the Pokes are wrapping up that week, and are preparing as I'm looking up their schedule here to see who they have next coming up.
And it's not like they weren't going down because LSU was going warp speed or super fast. That these were, legitimate, might be in trouble injuries where they were going down for real. So it wasn't like we've kind of harped on LSU's inability to get the offense rolling. It wasn't one of those times where McNeese felt like they had to go down because LSU was moving up tempo or anything like that. It was it just seemed like it got frisky there late for the old Pokes.
All right, we'll talk to Frank Wilson when we come back here as they're getting ready. They're coming back to Baton Rouge this weekend. They're at Southern. They're visiting the Southern Jaguars. We'll talk to Frank Wilson next year on the Jordy Culotta Show, brought to you daily by Go Chevrolet.
Great recruiting trip for old Frank. He can come back here 2 weeks in a row.
Gearing up for spring and summer down here in South Louisiana, and you want to keep your lawn maintained during these sunny seasons, get in touch with our friend Blake Abear over at Abear's Lawn Maintenance, where he says, you grow it, I mow it. 225-485-8022. 225-485-8022 is where you can find Abear's Lawn and Maintenance, the official lawn and maintenance company of the undisclosed location. Papa Earl's, the fine spice, originating right down here in South Louisiana by our guy Mark Pop Norman. Developed it back in 2018 and won Amazon's Newcomer of the Year in 2019. They pride themselves in having 30% less salt and sodium than the leading brands at the same price point. You can find them locally. Look for Papa Earl's at Rouse's, Calandro's, Mathern's, High Neighbor, and more. True Blue Water, true hydration at its finest. Right now, you're only a few minutes away from getting your 5-gallon water delivered to you, just like we are over here at the UDL. All you got to do is log on to truebluewater.com. That's TRU, bluewater.com. The website's fantastic over at truebluewater.com. You can get your service and find out how quick it is. You can schedule a delivery, even hop on the billing system right there at truebluewater.com. TRU, bluewater.com. Go Chevrolet is proud to announce Go Express Auto Sales, the new used car lot located in the capital city of Baton Rouge, Louisiana, at 11522 Florida Boulevard. Go Express Auto Sales is online at goexpressautosales.com, or you can search them on Facebook and social media at Go Express Auto Sales, the newest addition to the family of Go Chevrolet. Remember, Go Chevrolet is located down in Laplace, Louisiana, but now welcoming aboard Go Express, the new used car lot located in Baton Rouge, Louisiana at 11522 Florida Boulevard. Welcome back here to a Tuesday edition of the Jordy Culotta Show. Catching up with Frank Wilson, McNeese State head football coach. Coach Wilson off to a 0-2 start. His team won every stat line versus West Florida. It seemed like a real weird game, 42-36 loss. West Florida hit them on some explosive plays there in the second half. LSU, obviously they fall there 34-7. Over the weekend, and they're getting prepared for Southern University as Coach Wilson set to call back in here in a couple of seconds, and we'll get back in touch with him. But Lloyd was talking about it, a really good recruiting opportunity for Wilson and the Pokes to come show off the brand and see what they got going on here in Baton Rouge, as obviously this is a place that Coach Wilson is very familiar with, has recruited along the way, and is a great opportunity for McNeese as we catch up with their head coach, Frank Wilson here. Good to have him back on the Jordy Culotta Show as we're talking to him all throughout the spring, obviously with things that were happening with FCS football and some of the decisions made around that sport. They played in the spring and now here on a short off season back in the fall, and an opening weekend loss to West Florida where Coach, we said you won every stat line. They hit you with some explosive plays, and then LSU 34-7. And then you're back to Baton Rouge this weekend here to visit Southern University. It's great to catch up with you. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning. It's good to be here. Yeah, man, West Florida was certainly a worthy opponent, somebody we anticipated playing. Had not lost a game. Well, had lost one game in 2 years. I watched them last week, or their scores come in and went back. They're 18-1 in their last 19 outings. So a quality football team they are. But we certainly had our chances to capture victory, and we didn't hit the ball well. We didn't kick the ball very well in that game. Unfortunately, missed Jordy 3 PATs and the field goal that was inside the 20. And that just proved to be detrimental to us. Nevertheless, we got prepared to play in a hostile environment for the first time in over a calendar year, a full capacity, expected crowd at LSU, and they were loud, they were rowdy, and our team was fired up. We're fired up to go play LSU, to go into that venue and have an opportunity to compete. I thought we did. I thought we competed very hard. We gave them an analogy of Rocky versus the Russian. And what it is to go into Siberia in a hostile environment, and to go swing. But do know this, that they're going to hit you back. Yeah. And when you hit that mat, you got to be able to come up off of it. And I thought we played for 4 quarters. I thought defensively we gave ourselves a chance to be in the game. Offensively, we sputtered at times but flashed at other times. And at the end, just ran out of gas, didn't have the quality depth as rotation and depth of guys up front began to rotate. And it went from Neil Farrell and some of the very good ones to the young freshman, number 0. Yeah. And it was just one after another, and they got the better of us. We're not at that point yet where we're ready to unseat the Tigers, but I was proud of our team and the way that we competed. And one day we'll be there. One day we'll be there, Jordy. We'll just keep chopping wood and we'll keep getting this team better because I do think our best football is ahead of us.
Well, there's no doubt in that. If we're casting the Rocky movie, Cody Ogeron would have made a great Sylvester Stallone because he kept getting up off of the mat every time the Russian knocked him down. By the third quarter, I thought that you were going to throw the towel in for Ogeron, much like they did for Apollo Creed. But yeah. he was tough as nails, Coach. How is he feeling today?
Yeah, he's good. He's in a good place. You know what happened? You know we're rushing the ball with decency, and then they started adding an 8th man in the box with their safeties, and we had thrown a couple of quick game things in the RPO game and pick up yardage, and we needed to back them up, and so we wanted to pass the ball. And it wasn't even, Jordy, it wasn't even blitzes. It was just the guys up front. We just didn't have enough to hold them off. And we slide, we chipped, and it wasn't the guys all the time on the edge. It then became, which you don't always have, this inside pass rush. Whenever your nose and your defensive tackles can not just push the pocket, but win their one-on-ones down in there because you can't double-team everybody, right. It becomes an issue for us. And so we began to go backwards when we tried to pass the ball, even though we knew we had to do that. We struggled at times to create separation against the 2 corners who walked up, and I just thought they did a really good job defensively of using their personnel and trying to take advantage of some of the things that we did. But again, I thought it was a formidable fight. I thought our kids fought extremely hard. To go in there and to be faced with a 3rd and 2 and a 4th and 1.
No doubt.
To me, those are small victories. That's a big-ass deal for us because at that point, here's what we're saying. Mano y mano, we need 1 yard. That's the line. Let's see if you can cross it. And that's a victory for the Cowboys in my mind. That's a victory for us to have us stay in like that and to create a turnover in that situation. Played a game that was 100-plus snaps total and 3 penalties. We were much better there from a discipline standpoint, and we took care of the ball offensively as well.
I was thinking about you a lot during the early part of that game with the way that your defense was playing. I hated to see Isaiah Chambers come out of the game early on limping. It was good to see him back on the field, but you had to be really proud of the way that your defense competed through that especially early on. I mean, getting them into a couple of 4th down situations. They scored on a 4th down. I mean, there was pressure on that LSU offense to execute. It seemed like it was applied by you guys. You guys were kind of dictating that.
Yeah, we tried to confuse them. We did a lot of things up front. We walked guys up. We bluffed them. We sent them. We moved the front. And I thought that it became challenging, or we felt that was our best chance, to be honest. Mm-hmm. Not just to line up 10 RM backs and run against them, but we did some things schematically to make them have to think and to take the sting out of them, where they had to communicate and adjust in protection and quarterback look back, and so we just tried to give them an array of things that we thought could be disruptive, and to give ourselves a chance. Because it was our best opportunity. And I do think, the defense did some good things. If you're able to sustain some drives, or we have a critical play where we get the ball and we're at the 25-yard line and we give it back to the Tigers, the score is 7-0. But if we can, at worst, punt it away and make them go the distance because we have been playing well, or get 3 to 7 points out there, I think we got a ball game. And we held as long as we could, and then by the 4th quarter, it just kind of wore on us, and we didn't have enough depth.
Sure.
We had players, but there's a significant drop in our twos and their twos, where they have a 1A and a 1B, and for us it's really a 2.
This LSU offense has been much maligned going through the year, as Tiger fans are not very pleased with what they've seen. What did you see on tape going through the week that maybe could inspire some optimism in the LSU fan base when you were studying up to prepare for the Tigers?
Yeah, they're talented. They're talented all over the place. When the field gets condensed and you can't do as much, that's where they were most efficient on us in the red zone area with those touchdown plays. Not necessarily long drives and that just put us away. And, again, we tried to do some things to confuse them, but once it gets down to it and you have to man them, that becomes extremely challenging because they have talent at receiver. The quarterback does have a real arm, and when given time, he can plant his feet and deliver it. And so, I just thought when they went to that and they speed things up, it became challenging for us. Whenever we could slow them down, it helped us. And so, I think Coach Orgeron and that staff will be able to hit it on all cylinders because it's there. The potential is there. He'll get them right. He'll get them right, and they'll be humming out. I thought they played well against us. I think they'll play even better this upcoming week and be ready to go once conference play. At this point, I'm back on the bandwagon. I'm cheering for the Tigers. I want them to win it all from this point on.
Frank Wilson, former assistant coach, a former assistant head coach here at LSU, now the head football coach with the McNeese Cowboys. Just a personal, I know it's not about you, and I know it's all about the team for you, but was that a cool moment to be a head coach in that stadium? You're a proud Louisiana native. To bring a team into Death Valley and be the leader of it, I'd imagine had to be a pretty special moment for you.
It was. You know what I wanted to do? I wanted to go play. I wanted us to go play well. I wanted us to represent our university. I didn't want to go out there and not be representative of McNeese and all the people who have worked so hard to build our reputation to get us where we were at, for our team who worked extremely hard in game planning and preparing a readiness to go challenge them. And here's what I told them. We're not there yet. We're not ready to unseat the Tigers, but that gap will close, and it will continue to close. And we go there, and we continue to recruit the way we're recruiting. We get a little closer next time, a little closer after that, and sooner or later, we'll be there. And our time will come, our moment will come, because when you're building it the right way, with the high school kids in the state of Louisiana and you spot in other positions, you build it to last, to sustain for time. And that's what we're trying to do here. We're trying to build this program that's not a quick fix, but one that will be built with integrity and longevity that is able to sustain. To walk into that stadium and that venue, my son and I took a picture there, and we had one from 2010.
Wow.
Of he and I in there, and he kind of showed it to me that here's the 2010 picture, here's 2021. Wow. And it just brought back so many memories and resonated so many things of the wonderful time that we had in Baton Rouge, and still very endearing and grateful to be able to coach at LSU, and even just as grateful to have an opportunity to coach inside a Tiger Stadium with all this rich history and tradition.
The majority of the representation that you see on LSU, from LSU on Sundays, was brought to Baton Rouge by Frank Wilson, one of the most dominant recruiters that the college football sport has ever seen, and did the majority of the best of his work while his days in Baton Rouge, and now the head coach at McNeese State. It was cool to see Josh Matthews guarding Derek Stingley on Saturday night at Baton Rouge Connection. How important is it for you to bring the brand back to Baton Rouge for a second weekend, seeing the success that you've had on the recruiting trail with filling out your rosters from guys along this I-10 corridor?
It was beautiful. I walked in there with Jamal Pettigrew, who was one of the last ones that I had recruited as well, who's of course with me now. And the first person that came out to meet us was Dre Anthony, who was also in that class, one of the last guys that I had recruited as well. And it was just Glenn Logan. Some of those guys were still here, with that class, with Devin and Christian and those guys who declared early and things of that nature. But anyway, it was good because LSU was so much bigger, is so much bigger than any individual. It's the university, it's the prestige, it's the history, it's the fan base, it's the alumni base, it's LSU. And so you go there for all the right reasons, and you stay, and you compete, and you put yourself in position to be successful, not just on the football field and in the classroom, but you make an investment for a lifetime when you're there. And saw Jeremy Hill and Nick Brissett, and it swelled my heart. Just big hugs and big smiles, and not just the players. Everybody from Shelly to Jack to from G String. The whole crew. It was like homecoming. So it was cool to be there.
You mentioned seeing all your guys obviously back on campus in Baton Rouge. What is it like for you to watch NFL Sundays? Are you just you can't root for teams? You just got to go. You got to be hopping around looking for the guys that you recruited to go see them play well. You go for players. So I got a call from on the bang bang play when the defensive end rushed upfield and knocked it out. The first call I got, or the text I got, was from Leonard, who said, "Tell that boy hold on to the ball." For real, Coach. Leonard can't be talking. He's dropping screens.
And so they it's beautiful though. I got one from Devin White. Down in the red zone, he's like, "That's the backer, man. He got to be underneath that." And I just give him a smiley face, like, "All right, guys, thanks."
Right. Just get ready for tomorrow. Leave me alone. What do you see from Southern 2 weeks in? What stands out from the Jags?
The talented team. They have some of the same player over there. Ryan Pugh, who was GA for me at LSU and came with UTS as their offensive line coach. Darren Drago, who's a local guy who was also with me in San Antonio, and of course their head coach, Jason Rollins, who was with me in San Antonio. So there's a lot of commonality there from us to them with guys on their staff. I think Jason has done a great job. I think they're a talented team, especially at the skill position. They have big, long receivers that can go compete and make plays. They're bigger than I even imagined on their offensive line. I'm talking 6'5", 300 with both tackles. And so they're a talented team. In the spring they go 4-1, and then they lose one to a very talented Troy team, and then have their way against a Lane team. So good football team, talented football team, extremely well coached, and we'll have our hands full. We look forward to getting down on the bluff and going to play Southern.
How is Southwest Louisiana, Coach? How's Lake Charles right now?
Better. We're up in Adams, so we're going this morning. We had team meetings at 7. We're going to try to get it in and hit the field at 8:45. Get out of here for 10:45 and kind of hunker down and let this rain go by. We had some rain last night. I don't know if you guys, because it's more coming from the east, so you're really not going to get it from the Texas area. But there's one out there in the Gulf. And so we got a little concerned. We're very thankful that Ida didn't hit us. We could not, Jordy. We could not withstand anymore.
Right.
And so we were blessed, although very much concern and in thoughts and prayers for Southeast Louisiana. We were just holding our fingers. God knows we could not handle another one. And so we were blessed and didn't get it. And our thoughts and prayers were for Southeast Louisiana. And we have some rain coming this way. It appears that way. There isn't any lightning this morning. There isn't any thunderstorm. Actually, it's stopped right now. So we're going to try to jump on the field, get these 2 hours, and then get off and be able to prepare. We just, I know it's, for us, we just got to practice. We're not good enough not to practice and then show up. And so we're in communication with local and state authorities for the safety and welfare of our student athletes first and foremost. And so we're kind of taking care on that front. But we're doing well. We're thriving. We're ascending. Things are getting better here. Buildings are getting back in place, and so we like where we're headed as a city.
Can't wait to see you playing on an even playing field with the rest of your competition when things get back to normal down there for you and the Pokes. It's been a great.
I think it'll start this week. I think this week will be a good one for us. You'll know next Tuesday when we talk. You'll feel me based on that outcome. I promise you that. We better play the way we're capable of playing against this opponent.
I know you're not looking ahead, but I can't wait to next week's conversation because I see who's on the schedule. I know you're not looking at Incarnate Word, even though I know you kind of circled it for the fall. But I can't wait for next week. Go get them this week. Have a good week of preparation. Thank you as always.
Thank you, guys. Go Pokes.
Yes, sir.
Pokes.
There he is. Frank Wilson checking in as he is the head coach of the Pokes. It was great to see him on the sideline.
Can't believe they booed him.
For McNeese.
I guess you're just booing the opposing team, but I thought there would have been a little. I thought there would have been a little love. But Tiger Stadium.
Let me tell you something. If you're a real LSU football fan,
you've been standing up and clapping.
There's no way you hate Frank Wilson.
Yeah.
There's no way you're booing Frank Wilson. I mean, that guy has been behind some of the greatest Tigers that have ever put on the uniform. He was one of the hard workers. I'll never forget going in to the LSU football operations facility back when they were recruiting Fournette and that crew in that class. And Malachi Dupree, Brandon Harris, Jamal Adams, all those guys that came in that class. And Wilson had a blow-up mattress in his office where for the last 4 days before signing day, I mean, he did not leave that facility. He did not put his head outside of his office. It was one of the most amazing things to see him just locked in there, working the phones, working all of his relationships, and closing up that class. That obviously was headlined by Leonard, and Leonard will go down as probably one of the, biggest recruits that LSU's ever got. I mean, he was the true number one player in the country that, it really came down. I don't think people know how close Alabama was at the end of that thing. To really flipping him. I mean, Saban put every ounce of energy he had in trying to get Leonard Fournette, and he settled for Cameron Robinson. He went for LSU's two biggest players on their board, Cameron Robinson and Leonard Fournette. Nick Saban got Robinson, and it was a fight to the death for Leonard Fournette.
Because when you look at something like that with Nick Saban, that's almost as big as winning on the football field.
Yes.
If you can win the offseason like that and take a Leonard Fournette away from LSU.
Landon Collins.
Who lives in the 7th Ward. And, those are the people that, regardless of what you, if you think he underperformed or whatever he did at LSU, you can't lose that recruit. You can't lose the number one player in the country to what is deemed LSU's biggest rival, even though Alabama probably doesn't see it that way. But Nick Saban sees the talent in that state as the rival. And if you can go in and scoop up the number one player in the country in your backyard, that's a win before the game's even kicked off.
Well, Landon Collins, I mean, a lot of people will tell you that are close to Saban that in his opinion,
that's what gets him hard.
The programs were very comparable up to that time, because if you remember, Saban got to Alabama in 2007, and once he got there in 2007, LSU beat him that first season with the national championship team. Jacob Hester, Matt Flynn, Early Doucette, all those guys. And then after that, the next year was the Jared Lee pick-6 game. That was the number one team in the country when they came in. LSU went into overtime with that game. He still knew that LSU's roster in 2009, that was the Patrick Peterson pick-6 that they took away on the sideline. That game went down to the end. The 2010 game, LSU won back at home, where, Kelvin Shepard calls the fumble and McElroy. D'Angelo Peterson reverse. And then 2011, obviously the game of the century when they go to Tuscaloosa and win the game. A lot of people that are close to Saban say that the night that the LSU-Alabama rivalry matchup changed was obviously the national championship on January 9th, 2012. But on that same day, or it was the day before it, January 8th, at the Under Armour All-American game, he pulled Landon Collins out of Louisiana. And that was his first, up to that point, he had taken a defensive end from West Monroe, who ended up kind of getting in some trouble up there, but he wasn't a player. He wasn't a guy that was going to make an impact. He came in and got somebody that LSU had to have really wanted was a guy that was in their backyard, a New Orleans kid that ended up at Dutchtown because of Katrina and was right in their backyard in Ascension Parish. In LSU, just, I mean, obsessed territory, right? I mean, go to Gonzales, go to Dutchtown, go to Ascension Parish. There is purple and gold everywhere. And for Landon Collins to be, you know, really, LSU never had a shot on Collins. I mean, like, looking back on it and being kind of close to the situation, LSU never had a prayer on Landon Collins. And that was the night that really Saban believes that he
opened up the
was
floodgates.
able to show Louisiana recruits that it's possible for you to come here. You don't have to be bound to LSU. Don't let them tell you that if you leave the state that it's not that you're not going to be welcome back. You'll be okay. You'll be fine.
Well, that was his message, I imagine,
Yes,
when he was the LSU head coach. Like, you can't leave the state. You'll never have a job here again.
Well, his line to them was, don't make a 4-year choice, make a 40-year choice. And if you want to go to, you know, if you come to LSU,
You're set for life.
even if you're not any good, you can sell insurance the rest of your life and people will buy from you because you're an LSU football player. I mean, that's what he was. That was almost, you know, kind of what he was selling. You know, then he was, you know, he had Eddie Lacy, who really LSU didn't want. Les Miles kind of said that he didn't want to go through the trouble of really getting Lacy eligible, and Saban sent him away to like that Phoenix online place that he's kind of got stashed away. That's kind of one of the diamonds of getting him right.
John Emery, close your ears.
But Lacy kind of made it, you know, he was kind of helping on the sales pitch to Landon Collins. So, you know, it's interesting to see how those things can go either way. And Frank Wilson was the guy that was fighting those fights for LSU. He was fighting them the hardest. He had to really kind of cover up the goofball that Les Miles was. He had to, you know, really kind of coach him up on how to talk and communicate with these recruits that they were really going after. And he was really the face in the head of LSU's recruiting department at that time. So it is.
I'd imagine he's got a job at LSU whenever he wants it.
Wilson?
Yes.
Whenever he wants it. Lifetime job. I mean, you know, I think that there was aspiration for when he got the head coach job at Texas San Antonio, that he could use that job as a stepping stone into a bigger gig and possibly find himself back here one day as a head coach. You know, it's crazy how coaching works. You know, one of the hottest commodities in one season can be, you know, trash the next season.
Look at Clay Helton.
Yeah, that's a good segue. Clay Helton and USC parted ways yesterday, which now has the USC job open. And there's a lot of smoke around Urban Meyer and whether or not he is truly happy down in Jacksonville. As I saw some reports yesterday that there was talk of him possibly like willing to resign week one say that his head's just not in it. I mean, that, you know, it's not, you know, it's not what he thought it was going to be, which I can't imagine what Urban Meyer thought the NFL was going to be on a team where you've got the number one pick. You know, going in, you've got the number one pick. So obviously the team that you're taking over is massively struggling. Like, I mean, they are.
You can't be worse.
You can't be worse, man. So it's obviously going to take some time to get this thing right and get it to a place where you can have expectation to be one of the dominant teams, or at least try and have a winning culture and attitude like you had in college. But for him to come down to the NFL or go to the NFL and think that it was just all going to translate like he was dominating college football, I mean, Herb, bro.
I've read this book before.
I mean, you know, you were getting players a lot of the times by cheating, bro. I mean, there's no cheating in the NFL anymore.
The level.
You know what I mean? Like, you were getting the best of the best because you were one of the best recruiters. Recruiting doesn't mean anything in the NFL. You know what I mean? All recruiting is in the NFL is you're a nice guy. You're easy to talk to. I mean, it's not going to get you players or get you wins. So,
And everything I've heard with Urban in Jacksonville is after the first loss, he handled it very poorly.
I heard he was getting upset over preseason
losses. But when you think about where he comes from in college football, one loss, especially when he coached, that was the end of the season. So he's got to kind of change his mindset to the long game. Like the NFL, you can lose 4 or 5 games and you'll be all right as long as you'll have job security certainly in Jacksonville. But he's got to get ready to lose 10 and 12 and 14 games right now, and there's no way that his head can wrap itself around losing that many games in a row because he just doesn't handle losses well. He never has.
A lot of LSU fans have looked at this and said that they want Urban Meyer. I don't think you want Urban Meyer here. I really don't. I mean, I know that Urban Meyer is a great football coach, and in college he is dominant. He's a really good recruiter. But I think that the LSU job would eat Urban Meyer alive.
People would.
For some people, for him, a guy who really is, at the end of it, we've seen this song and dance with Meyer a couple of times, right? Where, he has played the health card.
The Irish goodbye.
Almost as if like to say, hey, I'm bailing. This ain't my deal, bro. I've had a good time. It's been fun. It was cool while we were laughing and dancing, but I'm over it. You know what I mean? Like I'm having heart problems. Will y'all buy that
again?
Yeah, or I got head issues, and I'm just not going to do it. I just think that it would be only a matter of time. It would be a recruiting loss to say. Remember, Saban is the guy that gave him the heart trouble. If you look back to that 2009, 2008 SEC season. Was that the last time that Florida beat Alabama? Was with so. Tim Tebow in the SEC championship? And then the next year is when Tebow's crying on the sideline and Urban Meyer's faking a heart attack. He goes full Fred Sanford on the SEC championship sidelines when he looks across and says, man, this Saban thing's going to be here for a while, and I can't beat him. I can't do this. This guy's going to out-recruit me, and he's going to kick my ass on the field. You know what?
I'm out.
I got a heart attack problem. I'm about to have a heart attack.
How far away can I go? Yeah, 32-13 in 2009. They got swamped.
Over. Just Tebow's crying.
He's weeping in the third quarter.
Saban is just staring across the field at him. Meyer's faking heart attacks.
Eating the Papa John's pizza alone.
I know that Urban Meyer, his name sounds great. If I'm Urban Meyer and you want out of the NFL, I would be calling USC today. That seems like more his speed. Urban Meyer at USC to me makes a lot of sense.
It's like the Ohio State move where there's not really the grind of the SEC.
There's not much of the pressure.
The spotlight's so high.
But you can be really good. You know what I mean? Like you can be Urban Meyer good in college football at USC, but if you're not, it's all right.
You get the Chip Kelly 4-year run for sure. Like you have no pressure to win immediately. You get your time to get your guys in. You get to live on your name alone. And USC, when you think about it, they've swung and taken massive hats at hires.
Yes.
Lane Kiffin, Steve Sarkisian, and then Clay Helton. So they've done the thing where you're like, look, money's not a problem. We're going for the up and coming name. Urban Meyer would be probably the most stable, which is terrifying to think about if you're USC, but he has the longest tenure and track record of success in college football that they would have brought in a long, long time, probably since Pete Carroll.
Daily, we are brought to you by AdvantaClean. Get in touch with Bradley Lynch and AdvantaClean today. Water, fire, or mold damage. We were down in New Orleans last week helping Kelly move some of the things out of her backyard, and she had a little bit of damage from water from the storm, and I'd imagine that is creeping in a lot of places around New Orleans and homes and businesses. Get in touch with AdvantaClean online at advantaclean.com. AdvantaClean, easy to get in touch with Bradley Lynch and his crew over there. Give me 20 seconds to reset. We'll be back with Derek Stingley Sr. We'll get his thoughts of last weekend and the week ahead here for LSU coming up next here on the Jordy Culotta Show. Go Chevrolet is proud to announce Go Express Auto Sales, the new used car lot located in the capital city of Baton Rouge, Louisiana, at 11522 Florida Boulevard. Go Express Auto Sales is online at goexpressautosales.com, or you can search them on Facebook and social media at Go Express Auto Sales, the newest addition to the family of Go Chevrolet. Remember, Go Chevrolet is located down in Laplace, Louisiana, but now welcoming aboard Go Express, the new used car lot located in Baton Rouge, Louisiana at 11522 Florida Boulevard. Welcome back here to the Jordy Culotta Show, presented by Go Chevrolet, driven every day by Go Chevrolet, online at GEAUXchevrolet.com. Get in touch. Lee Carney, Nick Richard, entire crew over at Go. Laplace is trying to get back on their feet after last week's storm 2 weeks ago. And then, of course, the used car lot here. The carpool queen is back.
Hey.
How are you feeling?
Good. It
What kicks we got on today?
Oh.
All right,
A little purple on there.
I like those. I like those.
Like it,
Purple. Yeah.
Flower rain jacket.
Everything good?
Thank you. My Jordy Culotta rain jacket.
Nice, Southern Mark.
Coming in clutch.
Derek Stingley Sr. is here every Monday. He was kind enough to shift with us to a Tuesday after an abbreviated show yesterday. We were talking to Coach Frank Wilson just a little bit ago about some of the cool images that were coming out. Obviously, a return trip to Tiger Stadium for him. That was a cool stuff with Jordan. Is it Jordan Matthews, right? The former Dunham Tiger, who's now a wide receiver at McNeese, going up against his former classmate and Derek on Saturday night. That had to be cool to see the two former teammates back at it on the grand stage.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. That's what it's about, man. I mean, you know, guys growing up together, being high school teammates, good close friends, and they kind of go their separate ways, but somehow they meet back in Tiger Stadium. Yeah. And for Josh, you know, he had a long road to travel to get himself to McNeese. He went to La Tech as a walk-on, you know, fought through a walk-on year, thought about transferring, tried to stay till the spring. Then Frank wound up getting McNeese, and Josh had some real good practice tape. And Josh always been a great player. It was just that he developed a little late in high school, but he was still a good player for us at the Dunham School. And then he became like one of the top guys over there for McNeese this past spring ball. I think he was like second team all conference and things like that. So he puts in the work. You know, it was pretty cool seeing those two go up against one another because, you know, they're such good friends. But you know, you got to turn that friendship, you know, off for at least 2.5 hours and compete against one another. And it was great watching those two.
You have seen some of the most dominant recruiters in college football. All of them really have been inside of your living room asking your son to come to their school. How good was Frank Wilson? How good is Frank Wilson as a recruiter?
Frank is great. I mean, by the time Derek started getting recruited, Frank was at UTSA, and he was doing a great job of recruiting Derek. And it was like as if he was just one of the big dogs. There was nothing different of, you know, I'm not minimizing UTSA,
sure.
But it was more so like his tactics and you know, his conversations. And, you know, Frank is a great motivator. He can pull you in with his words. And he did a good job. I respect Frank. I think Frank is one of the best, to be honest. And, you know, he got McNeese going in the right direction. You know, I know they're 0-2, but at the same time, they're competitive 0-2 for sure.
Derek was one of those generational players in recruiting. He's turned out to be a generational player on the college football stage. It seems like in recruiting around Baton Rouge and around Louisiana, there's a couple of players that could have that status up to this point. I look at Quincy Wiggins down at Madison Prep, and he looks like he is going to for sure play on Sundays. When you were back in that time, what made a good recruiter? How did somebody make an impact? Because you saw it all. You heard it all you read it all. What was the ultimate impact maker for somebody like you and Junior back just 4 years ago when you were really in the teeth of it?
Well, track record for sure was one thing that we always looked at about which players did they get, where were they, how did those players develop, and then just the truth in their words, because sometimes you can get caught up into hearing all the positive things because that's what it is. It's a sales pitch. Mm-hmm. But then how different is it? How different is it from what other teams or other schools are talking about? Because everybody sounds the same, but if somebody comes with something unique, and then you connect the dots to the point where, they were able to grab some of the better players, and they were able to produce those players into NFL players and things like that. And for us, that's kind of what we looked at. But, Corey Raymond was just one of the best. And, he had his claws in Derek early on. So there was no one that was going to outdo Corey, to be honest.
In everything that you learned in recruiting to where you are right now, has it kind of played out? And I'm sure you envisioned it, you saw it. Did it go kind of how you saw it going?
Yeah, like now, yes. Uh-huh. Like to this day, yes. But early on, we didn't expect Derek to play early on as much as he did, because we had Calvin. Remember, Calvin Joseph was there.
That's right.
Before, so from what we were told, but Derek still had to go in there and prove himself, was that he's going to rotate, he's going to get playing time, things like that. We didn't expect for him to play 99.9% of the snaps, because once Calvin Joseph and Manny Neverly left, there were no other DBs besides the freshman class that came in, besides Christian Fulton, to play corner rather. So it kind of catapulted Derek's success and put him out there on the big stage. And then, naturally he had a year of all years, and, and then he has the confidence to continue to, play good football, and here's where we are. But, what Corey said was true. You come in here and you prove yourself worthy, you're going to get on the field. And that's what happened. But he said, if you play well enough, there's a chance you can get national recognition. That's what happened. You play well enough to get national recognition, there's a chance that you can get yourself in the talks of first round draft pick. And here's where we are. Uh-huh. I mean, we're not at the end of it all, but there's a good chance, if all things goes according to plan, Derek can be a top draft pick. So yes, I thought that they did a good job. I thought Coach O was true to his word with everything just as well. I don't have any ill will feelings, because nothing was promised, and we didn't. Coach O didn't come to us and say, "I want to do this, I'm going to do this," and it never happened. So my relationship with them is just as solid as it's always been.
Did you get any feedback from your internet hit last week here on the Jordy Culotta show? Because we sure did.
I got plenty. I got plenty. Everyone was thinking we're going to opt out.
Yeah.
That we're done, and that here's the thing. I get it. These fans are truly passionate down here, and they have a right to be. They can say as they want, do as they want. But coming from a parent standpoint, I have to stand up for my son when I hear things, or those other boys, when the parents don't have a voice. Mm-hmm. So they don't understand that, it's about winning, and they have an opportunity to say as they want. But, my God, these are still kids. It's like they poke holes in everything. It's like you win, it's still an issue. You lose, freaking burn the building down. Mm-hmm. Those are the things that kind of like, truth be told, players, they're, when they hear about it, they're sick of it. They're not machines. They're not just wind-up toys. You go out there and say, play football. They're human just as well. And that's my only thing is to protect mine. Mm-hmm. And I think any parent would feel the exact same way if they had a voice. And Jordy, thank you for giving me a voice. Yeah. And that's all it is. I'm just expressing myself. I don't have no issue with anybody. But then if I feel like someone is attacking my child, I'm not going to sit back and just let that be. Then I'm going to say something about it. And then we're going to feel a certain type of way. That's all. But we're not opting out. We're still playing.
Right.
My son loves football. He loves to play for his teammates and his coaches. So there you go.
Yeah, absolutely. Derek Stingley Sr., thank you for using this platform to voice it. And as you know, you always have an open invite here. Where is the headspace of what is, we believe to be the best defensive back in college football? Because as you pointed out last week, and I don't think anybody has really said this aloud, I mean, we've all kind of labeled him this. I mean, it's not as if, he came into it saying, I'm the best cornerback in college football, look out. I mean, we're the ones that have said, after watching him play on the stage like he did his freshman season, like, geez, nobody better than this guy. Where is he at now in his junior season, just from a mental standpoint, from your point of view?
Mentally, he's at his all-time best. I mean, really, he's always prepared. He's never have this high anxiety. He's there to help his teammates. He understands that, once again, if all things goes according to plan, that this could be his final year. So he gets that. His preparation is so much better, leading up into the week, into game day, things like that. So, it's early in the year. And him and I, we talked even after 2019 season. I said, son, you'll never have a year like this again. You'll never have a year like this again. Because now things will be different for you, meaning teams are going to game plan differently. You may go a whole game without one pass being thrown your way. And that has happened plenty of times. It happened last week. Yeah. I think ball was thrown out of bounds or something like that. But you're going to get those things, but it's just a matter of you staying prepared and staying ready, and you having good technique and you're showing good tape that if something does come your way, you can still play at your 100%, best ability, things like that. So he's good. He's very good. He's very good.
How cool was it for you, to somebody that knows them very well, to watch Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson perform like they did on a Sunday stage, like they did last weekend?
Well, man, look, Jordy, I got so emotional on Jamar's touchdown catch. I really did. I got emotional. The reason being is because, once again, we got the freaking idiot fans that just jump down on these kids. I know he dropped a few passes, and Jamar dropped some passes in preseason. And if you really break down some of the ones he dropped, there were some difficult catches. There's some bad balls here and there. There was, his head wasn't around. Yeah, he may have dropped one, but some of them was just on him too quick. Yeah. And then they labeled him as a bust, that he can't catch, this and that. And look, I know the Chasers personally, and I know what that can do to someone like Jamar. And for him to go out there and have the type game he did on that long touchdown, oh my God, I jumped up. I was just like, that's what I wanted to see, and that's what it's about. Then I hurried up and texted Jimmy Chase and said, and you could please tell those fake freaking ass fans to sit down, because that's what they are.
I would pay to hear what Jimmy. I would pay to hear what Jimmy said back.
You don't have to go too far. Go to Jimmy's Facebook page.
No, I talked to him on Sunday night. He was so good. He was so good. Burrow, Coach, you saw him for 2 years. You saw him. You would go into practice during that 18 season. Obviously, during 19, you were there every day and saw him and see where he is now. What is your expectation? Somebody that understands football on your level and knows Joe Burrow. What is your expectation for Burrow?
I think it's still going to be some growing pains, and reason being is because it is what it is with Cincinnati. Their offensive line is better from last year, but they're still not good. Mm-hmm. So naturally, he got to go through that. And I think that, if Cincinnati starts doing the right thing by spending some money to get some good O linemen in there, or get it through the draft, however you want to do it. We've seen Joe when he has a good offensive line, what he can do, and that's for any quarterback. But Joe is doing what he can with the line he has, and even though I think he's going to have a great year this year because now he has more weapons with Jamar and T. Higgins, and then the running back Nixon, so they're a true like attacking style offense that they can beat you in the short game, the run game, and the deep ball game. And Joe is tough as nails. We all know that. Yeah. And in my mind, I think he's going to always ascend. Like he's going to always go up. Every year he's going to get better, in my opinion. I think, but when it's all said and done, he's going to be one of the best quarterbacks to play. in the NFL.
Who do you watch on Sunday? What DB do you watch on Sunday? Do you watch individuals and say, man, this is the top of the trade right now?
No, you know what I do? I watch the guys that I know personally, that I came into contact with. So, I was watching a lot of Tennessee games because of Christian. I was watching some Carolina game because, I met and trained J.C. Horn. I watched the Cowboys game hoping to see Calvin Joseph, but I think he's injured. He dressed out, but he didn't play. So, and then I kind of, go around some of the other stuff, watch some of the SEC DBs that I've seen as well. Once again, I don't watch football for entertainment. I watch it for the technique part of it, the coaching scheme and part of it, the ebb and flows of the games. Me, if I was in that situation, what do I do live in game, decisions, just to keep my mind sharp as a coach. That's how I do it. I can't. Even when I'm at LSU games, I'm not in a good mood. I'm not happy. Like I'm like, okay, I'm trying to be in the minds of the defensive coordinator or the head coach or even my son at that time because I'm trying to play the game. I'm seeing what they're doing. I'm trying to be a step ahead. Just like a chess match. Yeah. And believe it or not, on Sundays when I'm watching, it's almost the exact same thing.
I bet. So, yeah. Can you imagine what it's going to be like to watch him on Sunday? Like, what you're going to be like?
Man, I don't want to know because right now I'm already a wreck. Right. But I think at that point I may be more so like a little more relieved. And what I mean by that is, how about this? I'm gonna say this, but I don't want it to sound bad because it was just like him leaving high school. He was a top player nationally, one of the top players in the country, and then with his team, he had good players around him, but he was the better of all of them. In college, it's the same thing. Not to say that he's the best player on the team, but they have a few other better players on the team. And then some guys, their level of play may be down a notch or two. But then you go to the NFL, it's almost an even playing field across the board. So now you get what you're expecting from each player. So now you get players who can rush the passer real good, players who can have good football IQ, players who can, work through zones together. Players. So what you see is what you get in the NFL sometimes. That's why it's so hard to score touchdowns in the NFL. And once you get on that level, I think from that point, I'll probably be like, okay, that guy should be good at his position too. That guy should be the top of his position or at least close to the top. So hopefully at that point I can calm my nerves a little bit, but I'll let you know, God's willing, all goes according to plan.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, because it seems like you're in the weird position where there's almost more pressure on your son in college than there would be in the NFL because I won't even say the spotlight that he put on himself, but that LSU has put on him and the pressure that he's been playing with. It seems like this is almost the hard part when he gets to the NFL. It'll be easier to kind of cope with. That's
exactly what I'm saying. See, he's been labeled, and look, we get it. With his ability, those things come.
Yeah, right.
But he's been labeled like that since he was 14 years old, even younger than that, because when I had him in Pee Wee football, whatever, he played up and things like that. So he's always been pointed at saying, oh, that guy's real good, or he's the best, or he's the greatest, or he's this. And naturally, Derek's demeanor is, I'm not going to beat my chest and say I'm going to stand on my soapbox and say I'm the best, but he's just going to go out there and play and then come to me and say, Dad, why do they think I'm the number one? Why? He don't even look at it like that. Mm-hmm. He was like, why me out of everybody? Because for him, he's just playing football and trying to be accountable for his team and his coaches. So, yeah, that's exactly how I'm saying what it is. So, hopefully things will kind of smooth itself out once they get on the next level.
Have a great day, and we will talk again soon. Looking forward to talking next. Real quick, McElwain's offense challenge this weekend, huh?
Yeah, I was watching it. Earlier. They run a balanced attack, and they do a lot of read option type stuff. I think they got some physical receivers on the outside. They got some guys that do a lot of different things, meaning like some double move routes, some hitch and goes, things like that. They're going to put the ball up. So in my mind, Elias and Derek will be challenged. When I say challenged, they're going to throw the ball up. So that means that, we're going to have an opportunity to get our hands on some balls too. But their run game is pretty physical. I think that they do a good job with that. So, McElwain's always been a good offensive coordinator, play caller. But hopefully, we're healthy. We're getting all our guys back. And, I thought the defense played great this past game.
Yeah.
So hopefully we can give their offense some problems and our offense gets rolling and, we can get back to some real football that we're all accustomed to around here.
Yeah, big chance for the playmakers this weekend for sure.
No
Ball's going to be in the air. Talk to you soon, man. Thank you.
All right, Jordy. I'll see you later.
Yep. Derek Stingley Sr. checking in this morning here for good conversation, getting set for Central Michigan, give you a little insight back on the recruiting front, talk about the dominance of Frank Wilson when he was kind of creeping around Texas, San Antonio.
That's so crazy.
Is that great?
I got a shot. Why not?
Right.
UTSA.
Make him a road runner, man.
Yeah, come beat beef.
For God's sakes.
Come on
Carpool
down here,
Queen, what's up?
Darcy's.
How we feeling?
Hey, good.
Yeah?
Good.
Yeah.
A little rainy out there, though.
Is it?
Lloyd, your hair looks nice today.
Okay.
Yeah, you
I
got
think
a
you
shower.
caught it with the headset.
You got a shower.
I think so. I think that's
Yeah,
no shower this morning.
Some days it's all about how the headset
Some days
sits.
it is.
Yeah.
Some days it is.
No doubt
Get a
about
little
it.
trim on Thursday.
Oh, you are?
Okay.
Wait, what's a trim, though?
Okay.
I might bring the old Molly back.
Where's it gone? I
Wait,
still
what do you
see
mean?
it.
Well, get a little shorter on the sides here.
Oh wow.
See if I can
Oh
help,
wow. Just
Bring the mullet
'cause this
back.
LSU
exaggerate it more.
Yeah, this
Just
LSU
exaggerate
football
it.
season. We got to do something here. I got to do something to get the mojo right. So that
Okay.
might be the move. We'll see.
One day you're going to come in here with it cut off, and we're going to die.
I'll look at my ID.
No way, bro.
Where is it? I don't even have my wallet.
It looks like things are moving well for Brittany and the conservatorship. Did I see where she was engaged?
It does. She did get engaged. Good
Um,
for Brett.
Do you follow
Nice
her on
ring.
Instagram?
Yes.
No, I don't.
Why don't you?
Her
It's
titties
so-
are just out. She's
all the
crazy.
time.
She's crazy.
She's out of her mind.
Okay.
Out of
So
her
is
mind.
she showing that she's too crazy for
Yes.
marriage and to be outside of a
She's too
conservatorship?
crazy to have
buy her
freedom
own
that
ring?
she has. Yes. Yeah. Of course she did. He didn't buy that ring.
Well, yeah, man. I mean,
That's what
when
I'm-
you're
yeah.
when you're married to a multi-millionaire,
Who is this guy?
He was a backup dancer, I think.
Again?
Right?
For her?
Somebody correct me, but I think he was a dancer, and I think that they met
the
on the
bunker's
set
gonna
of a
know.
video. Yeah, y'all know the bunker. I think they met on the set of one of her videos. So he's like a dancer or somehow affiliated with
got a
the
type.
music video industry. Yeah,
She definitely
does
has
have
a type.
But I mean, those are the people. Think about it. That's who you're around all the time. It's just
Yeah.
the same as like people starring in movies together, falling in love all the time, and
That's a movie.
leaving who they're with. And,
no,
they're
she's talking about
working
while they're on
together.
set.
Yeah, they're on
You know
set
what I mean?
working together all
I mean,
the
if you're
time,
just
you know?
riding around in a tour bus and just dancing on stage every
Yeah.
single day,
Yeah.
I mean, who do I really know but you?
I know.
You know what I mean? Like,
exactly.
but that hadn't been her life,
For
right?
her. In a while.
Like she's kind of been in jail, like of her
Kinda,
own house.
yeah.
Don't they let her out? They let her out. She's like a show
She
pony. They
gets
let her
out.
out to
She's
go
fine.
to concerts and go make some money.
And
When Papa
put
Jamie
pictures
says,
of her ass on her Instagram.
Yeah,
Did you see that
that's-
post?
yeah.
It was,
I
you
mean,
missed it, Jordy. It was just her in the mirror, just ass out, and it was
she's
like,
like, "This
here's
is my real ass."
Does she really have like the figure for that? Like, I
No.
mean, like
I mean,
Instagram is a place that is.
people are judgy. I mean,
Yeah,
yeah,
right,
she's still
right,
hot,
exactly,
but
exactly.
you know, it's not like she's got like an 8-pack. I feel like you shouldn't be
She's out there.
derobing on Instagram unless
No.
you are perfect.
She is still
Perfect
rocking
outfit.
the low rides too. She's not gonna let that trend die.
Every day.
It's a hell of a
Low
play for the
rise.
mom.
It
You know what I
is.
mean? Like to me, the
Yeah.
Instagram ass shots and titty shots are from like the 18 to 28. You know what I mean?
Well,
Like
Exactly.
I think she's still.
the pre-kid crowd. You know, like,
I think she's been locked
I
away
mean-
for so long. She's still
Yes.
back in like the cell phone
Right,
days. Or
right,
like this
yeah.
is how we did
No,
it.
I
back
get
in
it,
the
yeah.
day.
Yeah.
And she doesn't really have her kids.
give me that
right?
mirror.
You're right. She's doing mirror selfies.
Yeah, I mean, like,
It is.
like Brittany, the mirror selfie's long gone,
It's
man.
mirror stuff.
Break the skirt out.
It's almost like she got out of jail and it's like 2014 still. You know,
It
so
is
like,
exactly.
you know what I
Right,
mean? Like it's like, whoa, it's 2021. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, she's still living in the 90s, early 2000s. No doubt.
Good for her.
No doubt.
well, she was a baller then.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, that was when
was.
she was on top of the
Why
world.
doesn't this work anymore? Work so well in the early 2000s. Well, it's been
know.
20 years, Brittany.
Rohan is supposed to be here at 8:30.
Okay.
We will talk to him. That segment is going to be brought to you each week by Brian Fletcher Painting and
And
Fletcher
he's got
Painting.
a website up too. He just
Got a
sent
great
me that it's
website, and then the
live.
Facebook is fantastic if you want to check out some of the testimonials, especially some of the pictures.
Yeah.
Just did a lot of work on the state capitol. He's done a lot of work around the state. Got a lot of cool projects happening over there, and has been a loyal listener. So shout out to Brian Fletcher. Really appreciate him for jumping aboard and talking about and sponsoring what we got going on here.
Yes, FletcherPaintingLA.com. Just got his website up and running.
Rohan will be here at some point, and we'll talk about and recap some of the NFL things that we saw on Sunday, like Jameis Winston's 5-touchdown performance versus the Green Bay Packers, and very much outshining Aaron Rodgers, who looks like he's very disinterested in moving on and playing.
The passive aggressive of this man, like the passive aggression is he's such a child sometimes. Like, I don't know how people handle contract disputes or not being happy, but it seems like he does it like he's 12.
Yes.
Like he acts like a kid where you're like, go to your room. He's like, oh, fine, I'll go to my room. And it's so bizarre how he chooses to handle things where he's very nonchalant, but cares a ton. And he just won't let he won't let it die. He won't let it be killed, and then we can move on. Like, he's just holding this over Green Bay. He's just a cloud over him at this point because you have to put up with it because he can throw for 45 touchdowns and win the MVP. It just seems like he has that franchise by the cajones.
No, he is definitely hijacked.
Yes.
Yeah,
he
does.
is hijacked LaFleur. I mean, like...
Yeah, they're friends.
Yeah, they are. They say they are. They say they... I mean, like LaFleur's only play is to say that we're friends. He can't come out and say, like Mike McCarthy towards the end was kind of like, yeah, we don't talk. You know what I mean? Like, we're not buddies. Like, I mean, like, if Mike was like, Mike, buddy, they're going to choose the MVP over you, man. I don't know if I'd say that publicly. You know what I mean? Like, at least tell the microphones that y'all are friends behind the closed doors. I mean, y'all don't have to text. But, I mean, don't say that aloud. I mean, LaFleur's got to be like, yeah, I mean, I love him. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, if you're like, I mean, look, I think he's kind of handling it like a punk. We've been saying the whole time. I mean, like, bro, grow up and get into camp and just play football. You got a contract. I mean, at the end of it, you're going to be a free agent. If you don't want to be here, go somewhere else.
And I say that I like Rodgers, but because I do like his demeanor and how he plays football, how he's always seems like he's very relaxed, and but he just wants to push this narrative where he's like the smartest guy in the room all the time. But
Big Jeopardy guy.
Yeah, he even said that LaFleur was the first one to come visit him in Hawaii. He brought some scotch.
Yeah, you're damn right he was.
Red wine, and
you
he
know
was
what I mean?
Let's hash this thing out.
You're damn right he was.
Bro, I don't have a problem with you. It's everybody else over there. He's like, well, I can't fix that. But
yeah,
like,
well, I mean, but yeah, buddy,
more.
how do we fix that? Because I want to be here for a long time, and for me to be here a long time, I need you to be here a long time. So what do we need to do? You know, like, I mean, how do we get there? And, you know, I think LaFleur sees the writing on the wall that, you know, him and some other coach are going to go set precedents together, because it doesn't seem like he's interested.
No, it doesn't.
I mean, it doesn't seem like he's even checked in. And football is a game. I don't care how good you are, your talent is. If you're not in it, you're not going to be effective at it. You know, I mean, really, I mean, it doesn't. Aaron Rodgers can't show up to work disinterested and be good.
Well, and it seems like he got disinterested the more the game went along. He's like, what game plan are we running today? Like, what's this bullshit that we're calling? So, like, the worse that it got, the more he was checked out. And then whenever it just gets to the point where he's throwing interceptions to get himself taken out the game, he's like, oh, we're done here, right? Like, this is a wash. It's 38-3.
Yeah. Do
I need to be out here? No. Y'all want to see Jordan Love? Here he is.
Right. And then his comment was, it was one game. We've got 16
right.
more to
But
go.
That's
like,
what that's what he does. Like, he always takes it like duck on the water's back, but he'll make sure to say something and pick and prod to where, like, it's really not duck on the water's back then.
Right.
Like, he just can't seem to figure out where he wants to be, and it doesn't seem to be in Green Bay, though.
Back. What?
Just rolls right
Just kind of
off.
rolls off.
Duck on a water's back?
Water on a duck's back.
I'm dyslexic.
Right.
Today.
Stoned.
Wait, okay. So who put in the document about the concessions thing? Is that a thing? Did y'all talk about this?
That was me.
I have not.
Did you see it?
I mean, did you open the
But
picture?
I opened
Can you
it
put it up there?
and
like,
saw that this was not at LSU, right? This was at Philadelphia.
This is not.
This was at
This is at Meadowlands.
This is in Philly. Oh, so this is
in New Jersey.
Okay, this is at the.
What the hell kind of ketchup is that?
Well, they've got
There's
maggots
in it.
in the ketchup.
That's what it is.
That's maggots.
It's maggots
in the ketchup.
Oh my God.
Do you think that comes from like that tube that you press down?
Yes, it does.
So that thing's just filled.
It's been sitting there since last year.
Just filled.
I have chills all over.
But the reason I put it is because people were bitching about the LSU concessions. I mean, did we get any maggots? I don't think so. Get your hot dog, get your beer, and just enjoy what it is.
Who was complaining? Like, why were people
Everybody
complaining about
is.
LSU
They always
concessions?
complain about the LSU
Hey,
concessions.
Just give them something to complain about, for
Yeah.
God's sakes, and they will complain.
Yeah, I mean, I know they suck, but it's still, you know exactly
What do you mean
you're
they
getting.
suck? Like the options suck, or the prices
Right,
are too
I don't
high?
know. I love them. I get a tiger dog every time.
Oh,
Yeah.
I
I
put
get-
away a chili dog the other day, Saturday.
I get one. I get two. I eat one in the corridor, and then I go back with one. And I don't tell anybody that, but I just spilled
Look
my
at you
spilled
and
my
your eating
beans.
disorder.
How many bites?
2.5.
2.5.
And then you go in the bathroom and purge it all.
Yeah, that's Sunday. Me and Jordy are kindred spirits.
I'm a nachos guy at Tiger Stadium.
Really?
Yeah.
I feel
Yeah.
like that's the biggest risk you could take. Cold cheese on a cold chip. Just,
Bigger than a hot dog?
hot dog's a
Think
little
bigger
warm
than a
every
tube
time. They
steak?
know they got it. They got that thing wrapped up in the tinfoil. It's ready to go.
I mean, I'm a
nachos.
Tiger dog.
Yes, without a doubt. OG.
Yes.
Yeah.
I discovered cheesy garlic bread, and it's
Ugh,
these little pieces
gross.
of bread, and it
At a
has
stadium?
cheese. Yeah.
Well, you're eating nachos. I mean,
Yeah,
hot dogs.
hell, what do you mean? It's like, it's so good. It's hot, garlicky, cheesy.
This sounds
Wait,
like
this is an option at the LSU
this
concession
sounds
stand?
like a club issue.
Well,
Yeah,
in the
that's
sta-
a
it's in the
stadium
stadium
club.
club,
Sure.
yeah.
Oh,
Right,
yeah, you
right.
don't know. You're
I
not
do
eating Cracker
know.
Jacks with the people.
I
Right.
do. We have tickets, regular tickets too.
But I never use them. But I
Yeah,
mean,
yes,
That's
we
even more
do. We
brag.
just got these tickets.
I mean, I could go
Yes,
down
we
there if I
do.
like.
We do.
well, look, you don't have to feel shameful around here because I am a sweet club
don't.
guy or
I don't want to
bust.
sit in our regular seats.
I
I mean,
mean-
yeah, what's the big deal? Neither do the kids.
It's-
Like,
what do you mean? You
we don't want to sit in our regular seats
Oh,
when
you
it's
don't.
blazing
Yeah.
hot
Oh,
outside
sure.
in the bowl. I mean,
God.
it's fun some games and it's fun night games, but yeah, of course you'd rather be indoors, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Hell, y'all. I'm not apologizing for that.
Selections in AC.
Yes.
I mean, the hardest thing to
Clean
do up there is to
bathrooms.
watch the game.
Yeah, but I was able to go inside every now and then and catch my game, and then ease back out before anybody knew I was even missing. It was
Oh yeah,
perfect.
you're trying to watch Mississippi State at the same time. That makes sense.
Yeah, I was in there at a table by myself. Couple
Who do they
people
have
came
this
by.
weekend?
Coming up,
Yeah.
Memphis.
Okay. Nice little test.
That's a good test.
It's a nice little test going into LSU.
It was an interesting game.
Florida and Bama
Saturday.
this weekend. Did you see Dellinger's tweet yesterday? He was looking for Airbnbs in Gainesville and what they're going for this weekend. Like 3,000 a night, 4,000 a
That
night.
makes sense.
And who does Penn State play? There's another massive game.
They play Ohio State?
No, it's not a conference game. Hold on, I should have just looked it up. But Josh Payton was getting flack for not going to Florida, Alabama, and he's like, I mean, I don't really need to go to Florida, Alabama. You know, he's kind of putting that onus on him. It is Auburn and Penn State.
Wow.
Whiteout for Penn State,
wow.
non-conference at night,
Wow, it's in Happy Valley.
6:30.
Here you go, Brian Harson.
That's
What a win this
game
could
right
be.
there. James Franklin, USC.
What time's the
job?
kickoff of Florida, Alabama? That's got to be 2:30. Yes,
That has 2:30 written all over
it has to be, huh? Has to be 2:30. Because I want to watch all the games this weekend.
2:30.
2:30, and then kickoff in Happy Valley is at 6:30.
6:30. That's a.
What time's
comatose.
LSU kickoff? 6.
6:30.
6:30.
I think it's 6:30, right? I think
Okay.
it's
That game's
6:30.
gonna be closer than the experts think.
Absolutely.
Hey, did you go around and give out some shirts?
Is that an SEC
did.
network?
Like I did on Saturday.
Katie, I heard
Burning
that you
up,
were
huh?
everywhere.
I was everywhere, but can we talk about that library tailgate on the 3rd floor?
The Middleton. You got duped there,
Well, I
huh?
didn't go because
you give the special knock?
Y'all. I was like, wait, did he? Was that a joke? Who was it that did that? The J&S Plumbing Service. Are you still in the bunker? Was that a lie? 3rd floor library. I heard what goes on in the
Jack
3rd
was in the
floor
group chat and
library.
goes, "Don't go there. There's a glory hole up there."
I got so sad.
And Kate's like, "Oh, that's sad." I
Oh
was like,
man, I was gonna
"That's
like make my
hilarious."
way over there.
Yeah, I bet.
Is that was at Middleton?
Yeah, 3rd floor.
That's where he told me to go. Middleton, floor 3. So I thought, well, maybe that's the name of their tailgate group. You know, like.
Is
floor
the library still unnamed?
I don't know.
No, you're talking to the wrong cat.
Yeah.
Wouldn't even know. But it's like the Dumb and Dumber scene whenever he's in the bathroom. It's like for a good time
Yeah.
call. It's like the exact
He's like-
time. He's like, oh, Seabass kicks the door in.
Seabass and the fellas.
That was Katie. Like, oh no, oh.
Well, if that's Seabass and fellas back there at the table,
Yeah. And these two. No, he caught up to him half mile down the road, slit his throat. This is a good one.
well, you left that part out, Harry.
Ooh, really got to pee.
So yeah, I did make my way around campus. Cooper helped me, David helped me, throwing
Nice.
out swag. People love those koozies, y'all.
We got so many more of them.
We have so many. I'll do
So if
more.
you want a koozie,
Brian
let us
Burgess,
know.
where was your tailgate? I really did try to make my way around, but since I don't know what some people look like, I don't know. I'm just like walking around with Jordy Culotta swag hanging out of my bag, you know.
Oh yeah.
It was fun though. It was fun.
Are y'all going back to the game this weekend?
Straight up maggots.
Really?
Yes.
Y'all are every weekenders.
Have been. I mean, David's
Wow.
David's
a diehard?
Yeah.
Does it affect
I've
his
always
week?
gone with him. No.
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 Did it used to?
It has
No.
to. If he's going to every game at 40, it has to. At some point in his life, he was a psychopath about LSU football.
Oh yeah, y'all all were. Right?
Absolutely.
It's that age.
Absolutely.
So yeah, like Noah's age. Like
Sure.
Jack, that, in
19 to
his 20s.
26,
Mhm.
psychopathic.
Yeah. No,
Just
he's not psycho. I think
Affected by a whole week. Lived in an apartment complex. People knew. They were like, I ain't going out there. That guy's
lot of
crazy.
people.
Yeah, I mean, it's nuts, man.
Some wine glasses
I mean,
everywhere.
it just
The only
smells like
time-
reggae and streaming over there the whole
How
day.
could he be so upset?
The only time I've had a problem with David at a game is, I guess it was 2013 when we beat y'all in Tiger Stadium.
Okay.
And he,
okay.
no, I'm just telling the
All right,
story. He
all
like
right,
moved
all
away
right.
from me, like left me up in our seats, moved like rows down, and then was like a whole section over, and then he dragged me through the rose bushes and ripped part of my shirt off at the end.
Wow.
I was crying, screaming
Damn.
that he was manhandling me. It was a whole scene.
God.
It's a whole Mississippi State LSU game
Jeez.
scene. That was really the only issue I've ever had.
One of the lost
even
story.
David's fault. That's
One of the
Westlaw
lost
fault.
storylines on that game is that LSU almost came back and won it.
Braden Harris.
Yeah, they
that
almost came
was
back and
a
won
very
it.
lost storyline, but they didn't.
They didn't. That's right.
So,
That's
you
right.
know, we had
Thank
that.
Criminal Minded says that they won. I don't know if that's a he or a she. Criminal Minded. That it wants a.
Coos?
Where
What's
are
a
you
koozie?
seeing this?
Right here.
Okay, criminal minded with a K.
Yeah.
Why do you have criminal with a K when it's spelled with a C?
Oh,
Why do you
people
change it?
live.
Like country kitchen, people change the C
Or
C's to K's.
Kiffin's Crimson Corner.
Corner. you
like
would stay
that.
away from the triple K.
Yes.
Like
That one still doesn't
You
play.
do
That's
That's
what
right.
kind of
stay away
feeling.
from a lot of
How do we feel about this Clay Helton job opening up, or this USC job opening up now that Clay Helton is out? Who makes the most sense at USC? To me, it's Urban Meyer, especially if he's unhappy in the NFL.
He can't bail this soon, can he?
I don't know if you can, but Meyer seems like he's comfortable enough in his own skin to admit to say, "Hey, look, hey, you know what? I'm over my skis here. I can't do this, man. I don't want to do this. I've, like there's a lot of people around Nick Saban that say a couple of the first team meetings into the NFL year, he was kind of like, did I screw this up?
Oh, that's a bad
I
feeling.
might
man.
have.
Like,
I don't know if I really want to be here. You know what I mean? Like I don't know if I'm going to be as effective as I can be here as I was in college.
do you think that's something that you know right away?
Yes.
Like Urban knows and he's just going to try to play through it or coach through it? Because I feel like once you get that feeling of like, ooh, this isn't how how I thought it would go at all, it's hard to ignore that, forever. It's hard to be like, oh no, that's just something that's happening, first year jitters or whatever. It seems like when you're a man of their stature and you get that feeling in the pit of your stomach, they know exactly what it is. Like, I've made a terrible mistake.
Mike Bone is the new athletic director out at USC, and the thing that's different about Bone than his predecessors is that he's got no USC ties. USC for a while there with Lynn Swann and Pat Hayden and some of these athletic directors, the former running back that was there with Pete Carroll, they were all from USC. They were all a part of the USC family. It was very bureaucratic in the way that it was run. And in being in Los Angeles a couple of weeks back, I was asking kind of the feel around UCLA and USC. And, I mean, they were talking about just all the momentum that USC at one time had that they have completely lost in the city because they have not had anybody that could really relate to the city. Not, Pete Carroll is the obvious example there, but what really Carroll did was that he started to become Los Angeles. He started to feel a lot like LA. He was having Snoop Dogg on the sidelines. He was having Will Ferrell at practice. He was having...
He had the surfboard at practice. Like, every time he was leaving, he would grab it. It's like, all right, we're done for the day.
He made it feel very Los Angeles.
Yes,
I mean, Matt
very
Leinart,
SoCal.
Reggie Bush, those guys, Dwayne Jarrett, those guys were as much superstars as the Hollywood movie stars were at the time. I mean, those guys were just as bigger than life. I mean, they were bigger than the sport, really, at the time. And that's how I think you handle USC and UCLA. I mean, you make it Hollywood. You make the appeal that, if anything appeals to any of these guys down here in this part of the world, is that they want a taste of that life. They want to be able to live that. And if you can offer them that type of lifestyle without even being a movie star, I mean, you can just come here and play college football, and you'll have relationships with A-list movie stars and, rap.
They want to know
rappers.
you more than you want to know them.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
And don't you see that as kind of a cautionary tale for where LSU is right now? When you can see the fall from grace that USC had, and the sanctions be damned. Like, it was, once it got ugly, and then they still haven't been able to right the ship. So it seems like LSU could go down that same path, because you forget, USC was a dominant power, and how quickly things can just fall through your fingertips. Like, LSU, if this is a sour season, they've got to get the next one absolutely right, because you can't just be playing this game where you're shuffling people in and out every 3 years and expect to compete where you're in the most dominant conference in the country.
Yeah.
It's true, man.
Criminal Minded is a guy, by the way.
Okay.
I'm a
Third
guy.
floor?
It's my frat name. Real name is Reginald.
Wow.
Wow,
Go by
Reggie.
Reggie or Reginald?
Do you go by Reggie or Reginald?
I would imagine that Reginald
Reginald
every
minded.
time is tough. So you just cut that down to either a Reg, a Reggie.
You're definitely going to cut it down.
Yeah,
You're going
for
to nickname
sure.
the hell out of him.
For sure.
It's Reginald on the composite.
A lot of people asking about the school meeting yesterday and wondering how it went.
Yeah.
We were not met with great approval, showing up in numbers. So we were all given a time to come back for one-on-one meetings. Mine is today at noon. I will tell you that I've very much cooled off since then, but I do have good points to make, and have spoken to a couple of experts that I have armed myself with.
Experts on what?
Virologist
Okay.
from the medical field, pediatricians.
Okay.
I'm just trying to offer a solution.
Yeah.
I'm not here to.
I'm
no
sure they're
drama.
not worried about that 12 o'clock meeting at all.
No drama. No, they are. They have spread the message to a couple of people that have met before me that they are worried about what's going on. And
So y'all go back
need to
today?
worry. Noon.
Okay.
So you got no meeting yesterday. The best thing is they showed up in droves. It was all the parents were armed, and they're like, well, we can't do 5-on-3 here. So they just split them all up. I would imagine that you would have wanted to go for the early time slot to get the first kind of punch in, so they're not prepared.
It was not my choice.
So yeah,
Was
they're doing it
just
right
fifth
then.
grade?
Yeah,
Was
they
it
knew
just
how it
fifth
was
grade
going.
parents? Aren't you fifth grade?
Yes, is fifth
It
grade
was only
parents.
fifth grade parents?
It was.
Okay.
Yes.
I mean, I didn't get invited, and I have an 8th grader there, so that's why I'm curious.
Just a matter of time. If they keep the policy. We're just trying to get this policy changed, Kate. Look out for the email. Should be coming your way.
I will.
Are you going to do a petition?
Yes. Town hall. Whole thing, bud.
Okay.
Walking the
Whole
street?
thing.
Do I need to start this at
Whole
our other schools,
thing.
too?
No, let's just keep this confined right now if we can, because I want to build the numbers. It really doesn't matter your stance. I'm not trying to sway you. I'm not trying to sell you. I need everybody represented here. We just need to come up with a better policy. Because at the end of the day, I think the goal should be to teach the kids at the school, right? Because, yes, that's
really,
when
when
we
there.
step back and we look at what we're really discussing, the 30,000 square foot view of this thing is that we are arguing or debating with school administrators to educate our kids. You know what I mean? I don't even want to bring up the money stuff, but people are paying tuition.
That's my issue. I will bring up the money.
We
What are we getting
are
for this?
arguing and debating and trying to come up with more simplistic ways for them to be taught. And we have we've got medical professionals. We've got people that are committed, have committed their life to this type of stuff, that say that our strategy doesn't make any sense. So let's just open up the lines and see if we can't find a more sensible way to come up with the mandates and the protocols that we're going to live by, but the ones that we're operating under just don't make a lot of sense and are not working. And that's the reason why your lobby is filled up with parents this morning. And there's more people that are voicing that behind this. And they look, I understand that they say, for as much and as loud as we've been over the last 72 hours, there are people that are saying that it's not safe enough. and that the kids
there
aren't.
There are going to be those people.
That they are sitting too close to one another, and that their assemblies don't make sense, and that I understand that is a situation that you can't win.
No,
you can't win. That position it's a thankless position, right? Like, I mean, there's nothing that comes from that. That gets any type of praise, any type of almost appreciation. So, I mean, I don't want to lose sight of that as well, but you're a school and we're safe. Let's get educated. You know what I mean? Like, let's do the school thing during school hours when we're paying for school stuff.
Yeah, I don't want to teach the kids.
I'm not.
And I'm not getting paid to do that.
But I'm not equipped to teach.
No.
This isn't my deal.
No,
and if we don't think that this is creating mental setbacks and anguish in the kids, then what are we even really discussing? I mean, my kid will tell you openly he doesn't like school. He don't want to be there. This week, he's begging to be in school. He does not want to be sitting in his living room by himself, zoomed into a classroom all day having to sit there.
And it's embarrassing for them. For Anna Kate, at least at St. Joseph's, they would Zoom. She missed her first day of high school. So that was devastating. I mean, couldn't even go to her first week of school because she was exposed. And she did end up getting COVID. But before that, it was just an exposure thing. But they put you up in front of the classroom. So all your classmates see you zooming in, up there having to answer. You know how they, at that age, I mean, that's super embarrassing. And that's not what we're paying for.
Yeah, I guess you'd be the star of the show essentially
you would be.
if you're on the screen.
Think about you at that age at 14 and 15 years old.
Perfect.
Like, I mean, you'd sooner die than sit up there on the screen and be called out in front of your whole class because they can all talk about you. And
that's your chance to live. You can't even get in trouble in the Zoom. What are they going to do? Kick me off?
You can get in trouble.
How?
You can.
Really?
There are lots of protocols for. I mean, you have to wear a uniform to do Zoom at home.
Yeah. No, he's got to wear a uniform shirt.
That's crazy.
But he's not wearing the pants.
No,
none of them are wearing the pants.
Neither are the Sports Center anchors, bro.
Right, yeah,
I mean, they've got the tops on.
If they could find some positives here to where, you don't have to wear pants to class today. Well,
right.
Jay,
I mean, that's the only positive.
Yeah, bro, but he wants to be around his friends. He wants to be interacting with his people. He wants to be around his teachers.
The MOC.
He wants to be on campus. He wants to be at school. But, I mean, on a regular day, he'd try to fight you on it. But on this stuff, he's like, man,
if I have to wake up anyway, I might as well just be there. If you're going to make me do school.
Like one of the things I'm going to bring up today in the meeting, and I think this is a serious consideration. Oh, you care about a sport. I don't care. It's not about the sports, but it's just about, this is some of the things that we're not even discussing. Last Friday, him and two of his teammates are ripped off the practice field after an hour and a half of practice on Friday, and they were practicing for 2 hours on Wednesday after what they called the exposure. The exposure happened on Wednesday morning. Right, to the disease, whatever, to the virus. So this is nearly 4 hours of training that they've done in football post-exposure, they claim, right? So I come back and I say, hold on, let's think with our head here. They're blocking, tackling, huddling up, breathing on one another, and you're trying to claim that their mandated mask policy that they're abiding by at school, that they're sitting 3 feet away from one another, that you have said is the socially distanced correct way to be apart, that is more dangerous than them participating in football? I digress. They say it is. But now he's ripped off the practice field on Friday with two of his teammates. They can't play in the game on Sunday that they've been practicing with their teammates for the last 5 weeks for and preparing for the last month. Everybody's been getting ready for the first game of the season. 48 hours before the game, they take Jay and two of his teammates off the field without any explanation about why, where, what's going on, when you can return, how you can return, what needs to happen for you to return. None of that stuff is communicated. They'll miss practice all of this week because now they're not eligible to practice because they're not at school and have to stay away. Their quarantine officially comes up on Saturday, so the school is saying that they can play on Sunday. So potentially we're taking 3 kids, my son and 2 other of his classmates, that have not practiced tackle football for 2 out of the last 3 weeks. 3 weeks ago, they were rained out due to Hurricane Ida. All practices that week were suspended because school didn't even exist. The week that he was there, he practiced Monday, Wednesday, ripped off the field on Friday, and now he will not practice this entire week along with 2 of his teammates. You know how you get hurt in tackle football? You know what the easiest way of getting hurt in tackle football is? Is to not practice tackle football.
Yeah.
To not hit anybody, not get hit, not be around your teammates and know your plays, and get out on a tackle football field and start tiptoeing around and start walking and turn into somebody running full speed at you and knocks you out. Now, maybe that doesn't happen on a 5th and 6th grade football field, but by the science of football, that's how you get hurt.
But this isn't just happening in 5th and 6th grade.
It's not.
This is happening at every school. This
But
is
there's
happening to high school
nobody that
players.
is saying or bringing up the, hey, what about the safety of the football players that we're bringing back into action and saying, hey, you hadn't been here for 2 out of the last 3 weeks. Now go play St. George's 6th grade team that looks like Ohio State getting off the bus. You know what I mean? Like they got a couple of kids that I need birth certificates on 65, bro. You know what I mean? Like, who is this kid?
You got to pull and guard.
I'm just saying. You know what I mean? But there's nobody that's talking about that type of stuff. Like, I mean, if we're going to start making all of these mandates and policies where kids can just be ripped out of school and ripped off of the practice field and ripped off of teams, well, then we need child psychologists. We need therapists. We need people that are looking over and making sure that they're physically ready to go. I mean, hell, I don't even know if he can play football on Sunday, right? I mean, he hadn't been around. He doesn't even know the plays.
We'll get to zoom those things in.
Now, if you got a psycho dad like me, I had the 3 kids on Westminster, at the school yesterday, fully padded up doing the Oklahoma drill at 1 o'clock in the sunlight. So luckily, they're going to be prepared to play on Sunday. But not everybody's as crazy as I am about it, right? It's
bizarre. My biggest problem is that, at least at Sophie's school, is that she would have to quarantine because she was exposed to someone, but the kid next to her that was vaccinated, same distance from the kid, doesn't have to quarantine. So they get to stay in school only because they're vaccinated, which Sophie is now. But at the time that she had to quarantine, she wasn't. But the other people around her got to stay in school, and she had to sit out for the 10 days or 7 days, whatever it was, and do it on Zoom. That makes no sense to me. None.
all the while we've produced 2 negative tests.
Yeah. Oh, y'all did?
Yes.
But you still have to follow the protocol of the 7 days or whatever it is, though, right?
But
You don't have-
how does that make
saying.
sense?
It doesn't.
It doesn't. I'm just
We're
saying,
all-
isn't that the protocol?
We're all educated adults here, and we're making excuses to not educate the kids.
Mm-hmm.
It's maddening. Mm-hmm. It is skin crawling, internal, just maddening
Mm-hmm.
that you're sitting across from people that are in that industry and trade, that went to school to be educators, and they are making up excuses to not put the kids in the classroom or rip them off the practice field. Still, as we sit here and discuss, still no explanation from the athletic director. No explanation
Well, I don't
from
think they
anybody
have
at
one.
admin. Well,
Like, I don't think they can really come up with
how
one.
telling is that?
Well, I know. That's what I mean. I mean, it changed. The information we receive changes like weekly.
Daily.
Yeah, really. So yeah, I mean, what are you expecting to get? I mean, they don't know what to say or do either. And I
Brian
feel
Fletcher.
sorry.
That's exactly right, buddy. I mean, what he said. I mean, I got a meeting at 1 o'clock today. I don't want to say it, but you want to go into the YouTube chat and read it? That's exactly right. Fletcher Paintings. Rohan called. He's going to be here tomorrow. He texted. He's going to be here tomorrow.
Had another meeting. He double booked himself again.
What was it?
That's what if that's what you want to call it.
A sales meeting before.
Man.
So, but shout out to Fletch for being aboard here. And every time we talk to Rohan, it is brought to you by Fletcher Paintings. As we said, 3 years ago, they refinished all the windows on the second floor and 30 windows on other floors of the old state capitol. They've done a lot of work around LSU's campuses, all around Sorority Row. They've got 40 years of experience, second generation. Check them out on Facebook. Check them out on their website. Fletcher Painting. So welcome aboard, and to all of our fine sponsors, thank you as always for being there. We will be back with you tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. As we will talk to the chef, Jean-Paul Bourgeois, tomorrow. Rohan's going to be here. We're going to talk to somebody around LSU football. I got a text into Brody Miller about. I was trying to think about who it was.
Somebody's going to be here.
Brody Miller. We'll talk to him about the latest on LSU football. Get his thoughts going into this weekend versus Central Michigan. Thank you for everybody.
Mail time. Get your mail questions in.
Mail
DM
time.
us.
Tomorrow.
Yeah,
I feel
mail
bad
times
for Brody.
Why is that?
I just don't know how many times you can write the same article.
Yeah.
Because he has to do like his weekend recaps or whatever, and what you saw from LSU football was essentially what you saw the last week. So he's in a tough spot to try to find some new angles. So I feel for him as a former writer myself.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Right.
Look at
So
you.
gotta
The author over there.
Yes.
Have a good Tuesday. Stay dry. We'll be back with you tomorrow morning, 7 a.m.